There's a lot of work to do. Hey, it's enough talking. Start working on the car. This is day one of restoring this 1985 944. Right now we've got an issue of coolant and oil mixing. I also think the clutch is bad, and so I have the new clutch and oil cooler on the way. Right now I've drained all the fluids. We're gonna push it outside, give it a nice bath, clean it up, get all the 40-year-old dirt off this thing. Then we'll start digging into it. So here's the fun part. Never used this before. Let's read the instructions. Put stuff in, pump it, and spray. A little bit of this. Add a little bit of boost. So we'll add a little bit of that. Whoop, now we give it 20 pumps. We need more water. Let's see how this does now. Oh yeah, that's better. I think that worked pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna just spend a little bit more time trying this off, engine bay, but it looks pretty good, and then we'll move on to the rest of the car. Probably using way too much, but trying to get 40 years of gunk off. See, so I've been contemplating, I guess now's a good time as any to talk about it. You can do a full restoration, try to make the car as, kind of perfect as you can. But I don't know if that's the right thing to do. You go down such a rabbit hole of making everything look perfect. And I think, once one thing looks perfect, let's say, then everything else looks off. And then you got to keep going until it's all perfect. I think getting it good so that it all looks evenly good, not perfect, is probably the right way to go. If one thing looks 100% and one thing looks 50%, now the 50% thing is going to bother you and everyone's going to pay attention to it. If it all kind of looks evenly good, and it looks even, it all looks good. And I think that's the kind of the right way to do a restoration like this. I think the imperfections are what give it a little character. You don't want to get rid of the character of the car. You just want to, make it work better and look a little better. That's kind of the way to do it. And then, you won't be so scared to drive it. If the car is perfect, you're not going to want to drive it. And then all you're going to do is go to Cars and Coffee and sit there and look at it. And personally, I don't think that's what cars are for. Wheels look great. They're obviously not 100%, but way better. So the car's gonna look great. It's too bad I can't drive it right away. We've got a lot of work to do, but good first step done. Let me try to talk through what I need to do to this car. So basically I picked it up from my friend, and what happened was that when we were checking the oil, basically we discovered coolant in the oil. Thought it was the head gasket. That was my initial kind of assumption. And I called up this local Porsche specialist shop, and the guy said, hey, from my experience, it's probably not your head gasket. It is most likely the oil cooler. So this engine has a oil cooler in the front but kind of inside the engine, there's a housing you take off. If the seals in there break or fail, then you get coolant and oil mixing. When I first test drove the car, the throttle pedal felt very strange. It felt like limp. So when I actually went to pick up the car, I looked at the throttle cable and it was super loose. And so I adjusted the throttle cable, like I mentioned, and then I started driving the car. And basically what would happen is when you got on the throttle and then off the throttle, the car would really like buck back and forth. Like it would lunge forward, and it felt like, something in the drivetrain. Originally, I thought maybe the transmission was going. I did some more research, and what I was able to gather is the way the clutch is, it's instead of like those springs you would see on a typical clutch, this one has like a rubber piece from factory. What can happen is over time, that rubber just fails, basically like every other piece of rubber on this car except the spoiler. And basically the symptoms I'm feeling seem to align almost perfectly with that kind of failure condition. It's basically clutch first, and then we're gonna do the oil cooler, and then we're gonna do a full oil flush and coolant flush, and we confirm that we solved the mixing problem. The next step is rod bearings. From everything I gathered online, if coolant and oil mixes, you want to do the rod bearings. They're kind of a weak point of this car. The kind of established maintenance interval for them is 100,000 miles. And once you do them once, it seems to be that, maybe at 200,000 miles, do it again, but you'll be good for a while. But once we do the rod bearings, we'll start driving the car. I've owned this car for almost a month now. And I guess, I've driven it to Vermont and back, but it was with a not so great clutch. It wasn't the most, and also in a snowstorm. So it wasn't the most enjoyable driving experience. I'm excited to drive this car with a new clutch, and new rod bearings and everything. The car should be super smooth. Okay, so just finished cleaning the car. As you can tell, it is nighttime now. Looks great. We'll resume in the morning. I'll show you guys what it looks like, how it cleaned up. It looks really good. I'm just gonna let it dry out a little more and go eat some dinner. I'm tired.
Good morning, everyone. So we finished up cleaning the car last night. It was a long process and the sun went down, so I wasn't able to get any shots of the after. There was a few areas I noticed that need some attention. The car does need a full paint correction, but we're not going to do that right away. We got to get the car running first and drive it for a little while, and then we'll worry about the cosmetic issues. Let's focus on the mechanical first. So it's going to be a hell of a project.